we're driving back from Standing Rock right now. The time we did spend there was very humbling. People were very good to us and very appreciative of our solidarity showing, and really trying to stress our point that the rank and file of U.S. labor unions is not in agreement with what the building and trade unions are pushing, and their opposition to indigenous rights and their opposition to anything that stands in the way of the companies that they work for. It, I don't know. It was very special for me just being able to participate in a very small way um, at Standing Rock and help out a little bit and just kind of observe the gathering there. And I I knew this already, but it was just really reiterated being there. Just the gross contrast between what it's like to actually be there in the camps versus the media portrayals versus the stories that I hear from people I know on the pipeline construction side of things. These utterly ludicrous stories about the protectors, and just being in those camps and seeing just how good folks were, and how much they were deeply concerned about the water and deeply concerned about one another, in the solidarity they were showing, the sense of community they were showing, and the welcome they were showing to any and all that were there was very touching and deeply humbling, and made it all the more enraging to see the gross use of force that was being visited upon them simply so that a company could make more money selling their product in a larger market than selling it there, and to me that's pretty much just the bottom line there. I mean, the state is using its might to facilitate this project being pushed through, damn the opinions of the local people, and the sole reason for that is just so that they can sell their product at a higher rate in a different market. And it's just deeply, deeply shameful and antithetical to anything the labor movement in particular stands for, and which makes it just so deeply hypocritical that the building and trade union leaders would sign on to letters calling for state repression to squelch the opposition to a project their employers are working on. And for them to do that, for them to disgrace the very noble ideals of the labor movement by just so blatantly supporting the exploitation of the companies they were working for is just, I don't really have words for the sense of shame that I feel, and the very visceral opposition and disgust I have to see a union that I'm a member of, to see unions that are part of organized labor in the United States supporting this kind of stuff. And I just really like to reach out to the union brothers and sisters that are working on these projects, that are working in extractive industries, and just really challenge you to take stock of what you're doing. And I know you're not in an easy place. A lot of these are some of the last good paying jobs in the country. But I would really challenge you, rather than just holding on to that, and rather than just believe in all these lies that the bosses are feeding you in the echo chambers, on the spreads, or in the plants, to really take stock of the community around you, the community you're in, and listen to what just regular folks are saying, and look at how these projects are impacting them. And I wouldn't say give up your union jobs. I would say fight within your unions, fight within your workplaces. Fight for a just transition. You don't need to give up a good paying job. But a good paying job doesn't have to come from an extractive industry that's dependent on fossil fuels and raping and pillaging the earth and local communities. That's what I would encourage you to do. And I would love to have a dialogue with anybody about that. To be on the ground at the camps, even for a few days, to see the way they're treated by a government that purports to actually care about them, that purports to actually do anything resembling represent their interests, You know, they're getting bombarded constantly, whether it's just with psychologically, with being incessantly staked out by these grossly militarized law enforcement vehicles. You know, it's just ludicrous to have peaceful people in this country getting staked out by MRAPs and armored personnel carriers and you know, these military vehicles. You know, it's just, I don't have words for how much that bothers me to see this happening to regular folks in this country. You know, when we were there, they were getting constant 24-hour surveillance. You know, they were just getting buzzed by surveillance planes night and day. You know, 3 o'clock in the morning, they're just getting a constant circling. You know, there's no peace. You know, it's not like, oh, they were actually moving towards the right of way and these government agents, you know, we're observing that. There's nothing like that at all. They're in their camps, they're cooking, they're socializing, they're praying, and they're just under this constant barrage incessantly. You know, one night when I was there was a fire just across the road, you know, and under very, very, very suspicious circumstances. And, you know, as a wildland firefighter, I was appalled by the lack of response. You know, it's federal land. There should be federal firefighters there. There should be local government firefighters there. There was no one there. The next day, after this thing burnt all night, there was some aerial firefighting. There was it looked to be from afar, maybe like a National Guard helicopter with a bucket on it. You know, talk about a day late and a dollar short. You know, you can't send in any kind of emergency response to this. It's utterly ludicrous. This is not how I've seen it happen when there's white people involved. This is not how I've seen it happen when there was monetarily wealthy people involved. And to see that disparity in response in the emergency response is just disgusting. And to see the way these people are treated and stigmatized, and their actions are taken grossly out of context. To see just for a very easy example. When this pipeline was going to cross near Bismarck, and the white people objected because if there was a problem, it could potentially threaten a leak. It could potentially threaten their water supply, which is a very valid concern, especially considering these pipelines are not maintained well. If they're built well and maintained well, they're reasonably safe. But they're not always built to spec. They're not always maintained well. We can see this. Look at the pipeline leaks going on around us that are actually reported, and there's far more that aren't reported. You know, but anyways, back to the point. When you see the white people complained, oh yeah, we'll reroute the pipeline. What do? We reroute it by Standing Rock. Not quite on a standing rock, so the natives should just shut the hell up and they should just, you know, go with the flow. Never mind the fact that when it was near the white people, it wasn't running down the center of Bismarck. That was more than enough to move it. But it's the reservation, so the natives need to just shut up already. It's just more of the same, just the colonial, racist treatment of indigenous people in this nation that's been going on, well, since this nation started, and really has never stopped, unfortunately. And it's disgusting to see, and fills me with a great deal of shame as a white man that's a citizen of the United States of America.